Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel with a new video about World of Tanks. Today let's see the E-50M in action on Mountain Pass. The E-50M is one of the two Tier 10 German medium tanks, the other one being the Leopard 1, but they are really different. The Leopard 1 is fast and nimble and this one is heavier, let's say. So the E-50M gets a decent armor, so when it's angled you can bounce some shots unless your opponent has a high penetration gun on his tank, but you can expect to bounce reliably tier 8 tanks, and you can be decently protected if you can hide your lower plate, which is obviously the weakest point of your armor, apart from your commander's hatch, which is a weak spot like in almost every tank in the game. Your side armor is also quite decent for a medium tank, I mean, so you can try side scraping if you are facing some low caliber guns. In general, I don't recommend you to over-angling your tank because it's still the side of a medium tank, so don't expect miracles and don't try to do that in front of high caliber guns. But your gun, it deals some serious damage, 390, which is very good for a medium tank. The reload is not exceptional, so you'll have just a mediocre DPM. Well, it's not too bad, but for a medium tank it's not exceptional. But you have also good gun depression, good penetration, good gun handling in general, and excellent precision. So you can be efficient at any range. You don't need to be in the first line. If it happens, you will need to hide your lower plate or to try some side scraping. And if you're in second or third line, well, third line is quite useless, but at some point you can be behind other tanks and your accuracy will still make you efficient. And the E-50M is very good at ramming like its predecessor, the E-50, just because you'll have a combination of weight, decent armor, and good top speed. So if you can ram, let's say, non-super heavy enemy tank, you will deal a lot of damage, and I would recommend you to pick the ramming skill to increase the damage inflicted and the one reduced to your own tank. I would say that this tank can fill the role of a medium or a heavy tank depending on the situation. You will not be as fast and not with a high DPM like a medium tank, and you will not have the armor of a heavy tank, but if you're not going alone, you can be quite efficient in both roles on the battlefield. So you'll have to analyze where you are needed the most on the battlefield, and trust me, you can still do a decent job in any of those two roles. Here in Mountain Pass it's mostly about short and mid-range encounters. In this case I am facing some heavily armored tanks. Well, this IS-3 is not really well protected, but there's an IS-7 as well. Here I am shooting the right part of their frontal hull, just because normally it's a peaked nose, but well, it's angled normally. But in this case they are showing it to me very flat, without any angle, so it's not so well armored, and by shooting this part of the frontal hull it's actually very weak. I have already racked up some serious damage, and I am not going to move because there are so many opponents in this very small portion of the map. So for now I'm just holding this position and trying to hurt them as much as I can. And if you look at the terrain just in front of me, there is some small elevation of terrain which is hiding my lower plate, so they only have access to my very angled frontal upper plate. In this configuration I don't fear many opponents, honestly. I would fear some tier 10 tank destroyers or some tanks that would be accurate enough to hit my commander's hatch. And now the IS-7 has learned how to side scrape properly, so he's not showing me any weak spots. And I am switching to hit ammunition now. Actually, I have started this battle only to learn how to use gold ammunition. I almost never use it, and in some occasions I miss having gold. I have none on most of my tanks, and sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm in a tricky situation and gold would be useful. So this battle was one of the first in which I used and tried the gold ammunition, and I'm trying to learn how to use it sparingly. I don't want to spam it. Well, first, it's not really fair, and second, it costs a lot of resources. But once in a while, having just a hit or an APCR can surprise an opponent which was in a very good defending position, and you can force him to relocate or to be more cautious, let's say. I quite often have some gold on my tanks, but I keep forgetting about their own existence, and most of the time I either don't use it, or if I use it, it's because I completely depleted my regular ammunition, and in the battle screen I see minus 3 million silver. So that battle in the E-50M was for me an occasion to learn how to use properly the gold. For example, here this E-100 can be penetrated with regular ammunition on the top bar of his turret. So I am shooting at it, I am full focus, but either I will miss because my shot will go a bit high, either it will go low, and I have a very low chance of penetrating the frontal part of his turret, even if it's not angled at the moment. He's also showing me the lower plate, and at this angle with regular ammunition, it's a weak spot, but at this angle I have maybe 60-70% of chance of hitting him and no more. So here I am loading the gold just to ensure that I will penetrate him either on the frontal part of his turret, the flat cheek, here like this, or the lower plate. I chose to shoot in the cheek of his turret because it was not angled and it doesn't react well to angled armor, and also it was a larger surface, so as long as I am hitting this portion of his tank, no problem. It's almost guaranteed hit and penetration. Again, another E-100, loading the gold just to finish him. As you can see, he's quite well hidden. Again, I won't have the lower plate. I could try to shoot at this distance the top bar. Now that I have to move up, it could be done with an APCR.
They found us. Hold here. We're capturing the base. Bounced off.
The shot went low and bounced, so the gold is not guaranteed penetration, you still have to aim. Well, I was mostly trying the gold in a real fight, because here this shot can be made with APCR.
Enemies moving right at us.
So, not too bad result. We have dispatched a lot of opponents with the help of some friendly tanks, but we still have this full life IS-7 plus some reinforcements on the way, so we are still not done with this portion of the map.
Nice shot.
I have more life than my friend in the T-62A, so I have to be the one drawing the attention. Since we are outnumbered, we have to keep as many tanks in the game as possible.
They spotted us.
I was rushing here and I took a shot just because I wanted to make sure that the T-62A would survive, and as you can see, I was over-angling my side armor and it got easily penetrated by the IS-7. So when you are side scraping, be careful, even with the regular caliber such as the 122, I think it's 122 millimeters, you will still have some issues. So now it's 10 versus 11, our base is really open, and the last spotted position of the enemy defending their own base is completely unknown. So we might be capped at the moment, but I believe that since we have been spotted for a very long time, the opponent will probably try to circle us through the lake in the middle of the map. So my plan was to take out this IS-7 as fast as I could and then try to revert. And yes, as you can see, we have a heavy tank in our back, and he finished off the T-62A. I took my time, aimed, and now I am reversing and trying to face this new opponent. At least it will delay him, and my ally in the heavy tank will be able to engage the tank which is now in my back. Another IS-7, and I shoot at the non-angled part of his frontal armor because he was not side scraping, so quite easy shot there, and he's now a one-shot kill. I don't really want to trade health with him because we are outnumbered and I am in quite low health just 50%. So if I lose 500 against him, I might be too low to face the remaining opponents. And our base is not threatened yet. So I believe I can wait for him to show again and try to keep my health pool as high as I can at the moment. And now the E-100 puts a good shot in the enemy medium tank, so that's one less opponent to worry about. Now the Centurion 7-1 is spotted. The IS-7 is probably still in the vicinity, and I only missed the information about the last tank. So now I am going to engage the IS-7, he's probably still there, but I was anticipating him being further away and I exposed myself too much. I thought he would be a bit further, he was still waiting for me to move on and make a mistake, which I unfortunately did. So now I am not a one-shot for the Centurion 7-1, but still my health is going quite dangerously low, and he can kill me in 2 shots. So I can't trade health with him, I can't trade shots with him. I will have to find a sneaky way, let's say, to whittle down his health. Good news, he was focused on the Carnarvon. I was expecting this because the Carnarvon was proximity detected by this Centurion, and now it's a 2 versus 1 situation. Now the idea is to take shots at this unaware Centurion or to bait him to allow my ally in the Carnarvon to shoot him. And I was backing out because the E-100 is still in another position to hurt him, so it's 3 versus 1, and I am just worried now about the last opponent. Again, another very good shot of the E-100. As you can see in the latest part of the game, you want to keep your allies alive as much as you can, because just being 2 versus 1 will be a huge advantage. Crossfire is always deadly, but at the end of the game when everyone has very low health, it's critical to save your hit points. The other benefit from having the numerical advantage is that you can cap faster than the enemy team. So in a 3 versus 1 situation like this one, if the enemy is in our cap, we don't even have to defend, we can simply rush the enemy cap and win. And we have only 3 minutes remaining, so it's important to take that into consideration. We were lucky to spot the E-75 now, but he might have been in a very hidden position, and within 3 minutes, if we either try to capture the base too late, or if we simply hunt down until the very last second, if we don't find him, it's a draw. So I'm definitely not a capture enthusiast, but it can be useful in some situations. And I have no idea of what he was doing, but an easy shot in the side, and that's a victory. So even if I started this battle just to trade the hit ammunition, you can see that the APCR is more than efficient, it's very accurate on this gun, and I got the mastery badge and a high caliber. So I hope this replay showed the main strong points of this tank apart from ramming. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.